Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And tonight, we're going to take a break from the Senate coverage because I ran across something that has my brain tickled. This is truly intriguing and could be potentially the way to unravel red flag laws nationwide by a small town in Michigan. Yeah, you guys are going to want to hear this because it involves starting a militia symbolically. This is going to make you scratch your head a little bit. Everything will be linked in the description box below. And of course, I can't wait to hear what you guys think in the comments field. And I really need you on this one for your opinions. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. Now, I got to say, this word for the giveaway for Vanish, you guys are loving it. So check it out one more time, and then we're going to brothers and sisters, I am excited to bring you what I think is the biggest giveaway that I've ever seen on this channel. And it's brought to you by Vanish Holsters. Now, Vanish Holsters is made for the everyday American concealed carry patriot, not the upper echelons of the gun world. We're talking somebody who wants to have a gun, have it be comfortably stored, and safely stored to protect themselves and those that they love. This is the most comfortable holster that you're ever going to wear. This is a 48-inch belt that fits universally to anybody, and it's completely ambidextrous. It has a no-stink material, and it fits up to a 46-inch waist. This is something that you're going to want to check out. Look at this. They are launching the biggest giveaway I have ever had on this channel. They are giving one of you this incredible Jeep Gladiator and $25,000 worth of gold thanks to Vanish. To enter, all you have to do is click the link in the description and get yourself the most comfortable holster you've ever worn, and Vanish is hooking you up. Get $40 off now when you use my link in the description box below. All right, so now that we're back to this, let me just lay this out a little bit. The left does this thing with the Second Amendment where they say, well, the militia is the militia and you're not the militia, the National Guard is the militia, so we can infringe on your rights, right? That's one of their big arguments. Now, what's really interesting about this is they say, well, if you're a militia, that's one thing, but you're not a militia, you're an everyday person, which is the whole argument of the population is the militia. That's the whole point. And population armed, defeat tyranny, that whole, shtick. But the interesting part about this is this town in Michigan just goes, okay, well, I'm going to take this here flamethrower to your idea, Whitmer and Lansing, and then I'm going to just make myself a militia. Then what are you going to do? That'll stop red flag laws. This is some really interesting stuff. Let's get into the first clip, set it up. Then I'm going to show you what the Heller decision says. Then I'm going to show you where they're doing, because this is at very best fascinating. Check this out.
A West Michigan township is getting a lot of attention this week for passing a resolution to become a designated Second Amendment sanctuary.
An addendum to that largely symbolic resolution, the commission also established a voluntary militia. Or Michael Martin sat down with the supervisor of Holton Township to discuss their intent behind these moves.
The Holton Township supervisor tells me this is all about preserving due process. Concerned about recent red flag laws passed in Lansing, he says it gives gun owners a path to fight back in court if someone is looking to separate them from their gun.
You could not have picked a more iconic and perfect choice to cover this segment, Michigan. Anyway, this is the whole thing. He's going after red flag laws, the supervisor of this township. It's a small town in Michigan. But he's doing it by declaring themselves a militia. Now, this is fascinating because it breaks down the who is the militia, who is not the militia argument, and just says, well, fine, if you're going to say that we're not, then we're just going to call ourselves one officially. And that's where it comes down to the due process part and the red flag law destruction, i.e. freedom flamethrower I mentioned earlier. Listen to what the Heller decision says about this, because this is where it gets really fascinating about this whole militia piece. And if it's this easy, I'm going to laugh. I am. Here's what the Heller decision held. The Second Amendment protects an individual right to possess a firearm unconnected with service in the militia. Okay, self-defense, traditionally lawful. Okay, good, I get it. Yet that should be enough for red flag laws to be a massive infringement, particularly before you get to the due process laws. But now, let's continue. I got two more things from Heller, then we'll get to this guy's reasoning, which I think you guys will like. The prefatory clause comports with the court's interpretation of the operative clause. The militia comprised all males physically capable of acting in concert for the common defense. The Anti-Federalist feared that the federal government would disarm the people in order to disable the citizens' militia, enabling a politicized standing army or a select militia to rule. The response was to deny Congress power to abridge the ancient right of individuals to keep and bear arms so that the ideal of the citizens' militia would be preserved. So there's that citizens thing again. Again, they'll try to tell you well-regulated means fully under control of the government. They'll also try to tell you that the militia is actually the modern-day version of the National Guard, which it's not. It's quite obvious what it isn't. But this is the thing, because when Whitmer passed these red flag laws, if you're not part of the militia and you have no reason to keep them in their mind, then you can be victim to the red flag laws. But these guys just go, yeah, we're just going to call ourselves a militia, and then we actually need them for an active purpose in case something pops off. Yeah, I got one more thing from Heller, then we're going to get to that. In the United States v. Miller, it does not limit the right to keep and bear arms to militia purposes, but rather limits the type of weapon to which the right applies to those used by the militia, i.e. those in common use for lawful purposes. That's where the whole AR thing comes in. But listen to this guy's reasoning. This is really fascinating.
And does the odds and ends to, that we all fall under the Second Amendment. We have these right to these guns.
While it was a symbolic way to voice their opposition to the new regulations, they added an addendum.
The part with the militia, which was the addendum to it, is the controversial one.
The township decided to establish a militia. As Supervisor Alan Jagger explained to me Wednesday, it is not a move to militarize their citizens.
I don't want anybody to think we're going to be running around town with guns. I don't want them to do that under any circumstances.
He says it was meant to give the ability to defend Second Amendment rights in court if someone seeks out an extreme risk protection order against them.
This way you can go and say, I need my guns, I'm in a militia, and then you can have maybe have a jury of your peers, or at least have a lawyer present and try to explain your case.
Okay, so boiling this down, this township in Michigan says, well, if you're going to try to do extreme risk protection orders against me or red flag laws against me, if I'm actively in a militia, which they just set in place in this township, that means there's an actual cause for me to have these firearms, therefore you can't take them without due process. So this is the interesting part about this. The lead up was really key here. If you're looking at enforcing or basically forcing due process through the need to have that firearm for the militia, I mean, is that going to bring on due process because the militia was established versus being an everyday common man or woman? Because that technically is the militia. This is where it gets so fascinating because they're actually using the technicalities against the red flag laws. Now, again, I want to hear what you guys think of this concept because this is an interesting one as I wrap up with the last clip here.
Someone's got to take the first step and let the chips fall where they may.
But he hopes it will give those in his community better access to a semblance of due process in a courtroom setting.
You can take guns away from people that shouldn't have them. No one in this township certainly doesn't want anybody that's mentally ill to have a gun. Or if you're a felon, same thing. But the people that are legal, law-abiding citizens should be able to have the right to have their own gun.
All right, so that last part, that's not the whole point of the video. The entire point of the video, that's a whole separate thing by itself. But the entire point of the video is he's basically taking the township and they are forcing the due process rights upon anybody who would enforce ERPOs or extreme risk protection orders because there's a direct and tangible need. At any moment's notice, the militia could be needed. If this is the way that you beat red flag laws, I'm going to laugh a whole lot because it would be like the ultimate irony of throwing the word militia in there, definition of militias, the left's own little game of redefining everything right against them, and then they lose. That would be really fascinating. But let me know what you guys think in the comments field. Is this just a pipe dream or is there potential here? And I look forward to hear what you guys think. I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.